You can be around people that validate your excuses or validate your dreams and goals.
Yeah.
And so if you're around people, it's just so easy. Like, oh yeah, you're so busy. You don't have time. Yeah, that's okay. You don't need to eat healthy. Yeah, you're so busy. Like just confirming all the reasons why you can't, and then you
Yeah.
just stay stuck. Versus like I just shared something in our group today. Bethany Hamilton, the surfer that had her arm bitten off by a shark. She
Yeah.
inspires me because she says, I don't need easy, I just need possible.
On today's episode of Empowered in Health, I have my good friend Shannon Golladay here, and she is going to talk all about her personal wellness journey, but specifically more or less around this concept of mental and emotional well-being and the mindset piece to what it really looks like and what it really takes when we're working on our health. So Shannon, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so grateful for you, my friend.
Oh, sure. Thanks, Erin. I'm grateful for you too. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have a great conversation today, really talking about your journey, kind of what you've learned along the way, and really how your health has evolved over time. I know there's been so many things that you've learned as your health has changed, and that's really how you and I have connected. We've talked a lot about how what we were once doing didn't really work anymore, and we've had to kind of shift things and shift our effort over time. So Shannon, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the beginning parts of your wellness journey and really what you've learned as you've stepped into motherhood, as you've gotten into your late 30s and 40s. Talk a little bit about your overall journey in a nutshell.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Erin. So I grew up as a competitive gymnast, training up to 20 hours a week. Fitness was my life.
Yeah.
Then I got into running, ran a marathon, at least 15 half marathons, super active. And then I went to college and got a desk job. And,
Yeah.
when we're sitting all day, it totally changes our health.
Yeah.
And so then I got pregnant. And then before that, I have a husband who gives me my favorite treats all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was eating the treats and I was sitting at the desk job. And then I started getting headaches with pregnancy and everything. And so I found myself 199 pounds the day our first baby was born. And I couldn't believe it. I'm 5'4", and just always super active. I just felt trapped in this body that wasn't my own. And, even coming home from the hospital, I was like 188. And I know weight isn't, doesn't matter. But to me, I just felt like, oh my gosh, this isn't my body.
Yeah.
And so I remember going through some depression, just feeling really like this is how it's going to be because I'm a mom now. Maybe I'll never wear my pants again. Maybe I'll never do the things that I love. And then, just feeling bad for myself. And I remember holding our daughter and I was looking out the window and it was sunny outside. She was born in June. It was sunny outside, but I just felt so dark inside. And
Yeah.
I just thought like, this isn't how it's going to be. Like, I don't want it to be like this anymore. And decided to start going outside. And so
Yeah.
that made a huge difference in my mental well-being. And that's the first tip that I would say is, a lot of times we know all the tips, we know we need to exercise, we need to eat healthy, but our minds can stop us and our minds can hold us back. And so that one truth that I thought this is how it's going to be because I'm a mom now was stopping me because I wasn't believing that it was possible to get in shape after having a baby.
Yeah.
And so then I started walking, I started running, I added some jump rope, I started moving, started eating healthier, and found some workouts to do and a nutrition plan and support system, and then decided to become a coach because I got awesome results, trained and ran a half marathon, and that was like my big like success moment that I am back in the game. And yeah, I have been coaching women ever since for 13 and a half years, and that's like the success story, right? But go back a few years ago, like in my late 30s, things started to change.
Yeah.
And what worked when in my early 30s stopped working in my later 30s. And I gradually started gaining weight and I didn't know why. And so once again, I kind of felt like trapped in this body that was not my own again. I just
Yeah.
felt like it was kind of a repeat situation
Yeah.
where, but this time I was exercising, I was eating healthy. I thought I was doing all the things. And about a year ago, I kind of hit this rock bottom point where I'm surrounded by other women who said, okay, this is just how it's going to be. We'll just buy bigger clothes.
Yeah.
At least we're exercising. At least we're trying, But then I was just like, no, like I've been through this before. Like, I don't want this to be my truth. Like this, who is getting results? Who can I look to for hope? And, like who can I talk to? And so I started finding people to connect to, and one tip after another, and it was just a lot of little tweaks that I needed to do. Actually exercising a lot less, especially a lot less cardio, and, eating more, like eating a lot more, like
Yeah.
especially carbs, but then just changing my mindset. I had to believe that it was possible, because if I have that strong belief, like this isn't going to work, then there's no way. I would just continue to stay stuck. And so blasting through that belief that it is possible.
Yeah.
It is possible to be our fittest no matter what age we're at. We might need to make some tweaks and some changes, but it really starts with our mindset. And, just looking in the mirror, and instead of beating ourselves up, talking kindly, like that was huge, because it's so easy to be like, oh, you used to be in shape, or, oh man, you look so terrible. And, I heard, I don't know what the stat is, but like you say so many negative things to yourself, like, as a woman, like from the time we wake up till 9 a.m., it's like crazy how many times we're so mean to ourselves in that short period of time. And I love the analogy of a coach. If you have a team, and, you have the team and the coach is like, oh, you are terrible. Oh, you're overweight. Oh, you'll never make it. Oh, just really bashing the team and saying, go win. The team is going to lose. Like, they're just going to be like, we're terrible. We are the worst. And so, but if the same coach goes to the team and says, you are incredible, you have what it takes to win, like you are strong, you are powerful, you're amazing, like those 5 minutes, negative, positive, can make or break a team. And then they go out and they crush it because they have that mindset of, yes, we can do this. We do that as women, and we go into our game, every day. And if we're looking in the mirror, talking to ourselves as, like our own personal coach, giving that negative feedback, like, of course, we're going to go in the wrong direction if we are not having that positive, we can do this mentality.
So many truths, Shannon. And I think what I loved the most about your entire story was the starting point that you took. That was a really small, simple step. Like if we rewind it all the way back to that moment where you say it was sunny outside, but it felt so dark inside. And I kind of took a pause and said to myself, I don't want this to be my reality. I don't want this to be what I actually accept for my life and how I feel. And so you found a way to make the decision to simply go outside. Like that's where you started. That's where the snowball started. And I want to call that to attention for everyone that's listening to this, because so often in health, we can collect all the information, find all the data, find all the tips, find all the tricks, find all the things that we quote unquote should be doing. And then we get paralyzed and we do nothing because it feels like this mountain of stuff we're trying to either change or start to adapt into, or whatever the case may be. And I love how you spoke about this one small, simple thing that you shifted not only in your mindset, but also in your action. And that's really what health is about. We have to make a way to take these small, simple steps that essentially start to snowball into much more over time. And so I love that you shared that one simple thing. And I wanted to again, kind of call it to attention, because that's what I want the message to be inside of what you're sharing today. So many powerful mindset shifts, so many important truths around how we have to be paying attention to what we're actually saying to ourselves. But most of all, like making the choice in our mind to do something small and to start small and then to move from there. So Shannon, I love your perspective, my friend. Just so many good things that we need to be thinking about as women. And we need to kind of slowly embrace more and more as we get into, longevity health and midlife health and so much more. One of the things I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about is, you said, like, once you got into your late 30s, what you were once doing kind of stopped working, and you had to kind of figure out new techniques and new efforts and new things to really serve your health, your physiology, and your longevity. And two of the practices you talked about were moving a little bit less, right? Getting a little bit more strategic and specific with how you were moving your body, but then also fueling more, right? Like actually eating more fuel, learning about food in a way that really helps you sustain your energy, build into energy, and so much more. Talk a little bit about how that felt for you from a mindset side, right? Like what you're once doing no longer works. You're now moving less, you're eating more, you're doing things differently than maybe what you were once taught to do. Talk a little bit about what that felt like from a mindset standpoint.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Erin. Yeah. I mean, it was really hard. It was
Yeah.
really hard because I love running long distance races. I love the mental challenge of another mile and, oh, I can't do it, but I can do one more mile. And then you accomplish the, big race, and just that whole mental challenge in itself, and the accomplishment and the gratification of, like, I did something really hard. And so that was really hard for me when I heard, okay, now you're in perimenopause and you can't run half marathons anymore.
Yeah.
And, because I knew it, like I continued to gain weight as I was running, doing high impact, doing high fitness. These were high impact, hard on your body things. And, you would think like, oh, you're putting that much effort that it would give you results. And so it was really hard for me to
Yeah.
like do less. Like even going on a walk. I was talking to my friend the other day because I'm like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
I just want to bust it out, get the run in. And I still do short bursts of running because mentally I think it helps, but it was a big shift, and I didn't really believe that it would work. Like I was super skeptical because I
Yeah.
was just like, it has to be so hard to get results. Even adding like more rest time, I'm like, no, you start at 6 a.m., you go till 11 a.m., go, go, go. Like that,
Yeah.
like is like I don't know, we kind of define our worth by how busy we are sometimes. And so to be slow down and do less and get better results, and then being okay with like, yep, that's good enough. like
Yeah.
like that's great. Like you're serving your body well. And then even on the food, yeah, one of my business mentors actually, because she was in her 50s and I was in my 40s, so she's a little bit older than me, and she just looked amazing. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'm eating, so many calories. And it was like, I don't know, maybe even 1,000 more than I
Yeah.
was having. And she said I needed to start doing reverse dieting. And so, yeah, so mentally it was hard because I was just like, no, like, I need to eat less. Like you eat less, move more. Like that's like the common everyone hears. And so to think, no, eat more, move less, like,
Yeah.
wait a second, this is so weird. And so, yeah, so it was kind of a mental battle. But now, now it's been over a year, and just feeling more like myself, having more energy, just being able to do the things that I love, and just, fit into my clothes again and just
Yeah.
feel good. I can say, okay, it's worth it. But it is a mental battle. Even
It is a mental.
working with people, working with my clients, and they're tracking their food, and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh my gosh, like we need to increase. And they're like, oh, I can't do that. I can't add more carbs. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, we can.
Yes, we can. And
Yeah.
it's a real fear for women. I mean, I've gone through the same part of that story inside of my own transition and my own evolution, because for so long in the wellness space, and really still today, we are shown and marketed that we need to move more and eat less. And it really is this calories in, calories out kind of narrative that we've been programmed into and we've been conditioned into. And so it is this mental battle in your mind to really embrace what's really going to serve you for your longevity. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head when you said it's just sort of filled with this mess, but also a lot of grace. and kind of just trusting it and putting it into practice and seeing how it changes how you feel. And that's really what my experience has been too. And what a lot of the women I serve also speak about. You just have to get to this point where you really choose to embrace a totally new way of taking care of your health. And the hardest part of it is doing the unlearning and letting go inside of your mind of the things that you thought you needed to do in order to get results. And so much of that, I know is something that you and I have related on in a lot of different ways. And I totally appreciate you normalizing that, Shannon, because I think women really need to hear this. We need to hear about, I thought I needed to do all these things, and this is what I was focused on. And as I grew older and as my body changed and my health evolved, like I had to learn to let go of those things that were really no longer serving me. And as I did, and as I've slowed down and become more intentional, that's when I started to see more results, and I have felt better in my body and in my brain. And it's so powerful for women to hear that. So I'm just grateful for you sharing your story and talking about the realness inside of that mental battle, because it's hard. It's really hard.
Oh, for sure. And I like the word that you used, unlearn.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful because, yeah, like we're trained, like this is how it is. And then going against that narrative, it is a mental struggle because you're like,
Yeah.
no, this is how it is. Well, why
Yeah.
is it like that? Well, because
Right.
so and so, forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, let's break the narrative.
Yeah, let's break the narrative. I love that. And, one of the things that I know you and I are both passionate about when it comes to serving women in their health, we want to help them break the narrative, and we want them to really learn like what serves you best as your health changes over time. And so that kind of brings me to my next question, Shannon. In your own health evolution and everything that you've learned, you're also a coach and you help other women on their health and wellness journey. So I would love to hear from a mental and emotional standpoint, as you're coaching other women through what you have learned, like how has that changed, how you coach or what you help women really work towards?
Well, when I first started coaching, I really coached on the actions. And I remember feeling really frustrated sometimes because
Yeah.
I'm like, this person, like they both have, comparing two people, they have the same tools, the same thing, focusing action, action. This person's doing it, and this person continues to stay stuck. And so a big shift I've made is coaching on the thought process and coaching on the mindset piece because like I say, if someone has the identity of I'm fat, I am unhealthy, I am whatever is so powerful.
Right.
And so if you have that, if you're saying action, action, but someone's stuck in I am, they're not going to break through and do the action because we take action on the identity that we believe that we are.
Right.
And so, really peeling back the layers and helping people. Even one lady I'm currently coaching, she was struggling with making healthy foods.
Yeah.
And so, we kept giving her new recipes and, all the things. And then, I'm like, let's talk. How do you feel about like when you step into your kitchen, what thoughts come into your head? And, I can't do this. I hate cooking. I don't know what to do. Da, da, da. Like, all these thoughts going like stepping into the kitchen. So then she
Yeah.
just steps in, steps out, says, I can't do it. And so, taking time to break down those thoughts and even like I have people write down their thoughts. So on one column, write down the negative, on the other side, write down the positive, and then you record your voice saying the positive. And it has to be true. You have to believe it. Like you can't just say, I'm great at cooking when you really believe you're not good at. So, but if you say, I am improving my cooking skills, something that's true, but more progressing in the positive direction.
Right.
And then I have them record their voice and say it every morning. And then you step into that identity. And
Yeah.
then I say, anytime you have those negative thoughts, you just push play and listen to and you say it in your most energetic self, like your most energetic. I am working on I know I'm improving on my cooking skills, whatever it is. And then it takes time. Like it doesn't happen overnight. Just like a habit, just like a bad habit, our mind, the thoughts that we have are like it takes time to break the negative thoughts and rewire them into that identity that you want to become. But it's so powerful because like I say, you can spend all day and then I would have people just, oh, I can't do this, and it's like, rewind.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I could get, some of those earlier clients back and say, okay, I know what to do.
Yeah.
Let's work on the mindset.
It's so true. Will you quickly share? I know we've talked about this before. Don't you use an app or something specific for that you record your voice in?
Oh, yes. There's an app called ThinkUp. So yeah,
Okay.
it's one of my friends recommended, friend and mentor. She recommended it, and it's you can record affirmations,
I
and so
love that.
you write down the affirmation, and being as specific as possible. Like,
Right.
I want to cook 3 healthy meals for my family every day, or just being very specific with numbers in there, and then you write it down or type it, and then record it, and then you can just press play and you can have music behind it, like inspirational music.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so ThinkUp.
I love that. I know that we've talked about that before, and I think this is a really powerful, simple practice that we all can really lean into. Just this idea of speaking truth into ourselves, but then, like you said, having that on repeat and using it as a way to step into our identity with more intention. Because you're absolutely right. What we say to ourselves becomes what we really focus on most. And it essentially will turn into our habits and our actions and how we actually show up in our day to day. And so I love that you use this as a tool with your clients. And you've also seen the effects of that in your own wellness, because this is the key to so many facets of how we're able to show up. And I love that you're just continuing to drill down on, we have to be looking at mindset. We have to be paying attention to how we really speak to ourselves and what are we really repeatedly leaning on the most. So Shannon, I'm curious, with that practice, have you seen transformations in your clients that have started to utilize that, or have they, shared feedback on what works for them when they're using a tool like that or what doesn't? Kind of talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Well, just this going back to this lady that is working on her cooking. Yeah, she's doing amazing. Like, I'm so proud of her because she's cooking healthy recipes, and she's not afraid to try to cook recipes. So she's definitely overcome that. And the big thing was overcoming the mental part of it. But even, further, like going into more like I am worthy of being, successful, like believing that, like
Yeah.
that's harder to change the identity of. But I am working with people just currently right now, so I don't have the full transformation, but it's helping them take action.
Yeah.
And, so I just think it's really powerful. I love helping people with their mindset.
Yeah, it's the key, right? It's really one of the most important pieces inside of the wellness puzzle. And I love that you focus on that in the work that you do and how you're seeing women that you're working with slowly make these transformations and slowly chip away at the habits, because that's really what it's all about. Like we talked about in the beginning, it starts really, really small. And we have to always be focusing in on what are the small, simple changes I can start to compound over time in order to build into a more sustainable health plan that feels manageable, that feels good, that helps you feel successful. Because if you don't feel successful in it and your mindset is not focused on setting yourself up for success in some way, it's not going to be something that you can sustain. And at the end of the day, that's not the goal, right? That's not the goal. One of the things that I know we've talked about too, and I know that this is something that I see in the coaching work that I do, is really at the end of the day, like our environment and our society does not make it necessarily that easy to make healthy choices and to be healthy and to stick into habits that really are going to serve you. And so a lot of what you've talked about, Shannon, is the power of accountability, right? The power of working with a coach and community, and how that actually can change how you feel from a mental and emotional standpoint when it comes to trying to discern what's really going to serve you. Because in an environment and in a society that makes it really easy to be unhealthy because there's so much around us, talk about why having a coach or working inside an accountability group has been transformative for you, and why you also love doing that inside of the work you do for other clients as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, it's a game changer
Yeah.
because, you can be around people that validate your excuses or validate your dreams and goals.
Yeah.
And so if you're around people, it's just so easy. Like, oh, yeah, you're so busy. You don't have time. Yeah, that's okay. You don't need to eat healthy. Yeah, you're so busy. Like just confirming all the reasons why you can't. And then you
Yeah.
just stay stuck. versus like I just shared something in our group today. Bethany Hamilton, the surfer that had her arm bitten off by a shark. She
Yeah.
inspires me because she says, I don't need easy, I just need possible.
Yeah.
And, we didn't say this is going to be easy,
Yeah.
but we're saying that it's possible. And so when you're around people that are saying, oh, yeah, it's hard, this is hard, of course you can't do it. And then they just kind of stay stuck. But if you're around people and they're like, yeah, this is hard. Like what you have your kids, you have your job, you have so many responsibilities. Yes, that is hard. So acknowledging the hard, but saying, but you can still do it. Like
Yeah.
you can overcome it and it is possible. And it kind of gives you that mental boost to overcome any challenges that come your way. And so I just think it's so powerful if you have a positive community and a coach guiding you, because if you're on your own, like I say, which group are you listening to? Because if you're listening to the one that's validating your excuses, then, it's really hard mentally to get yourself to continue to show up every day.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. And I know like in my journey, I've experienced that a little bit. And I know even having like strategic connections or like-minded women like you and I have been able to build a relationship and talk a lot about different facets of health, and just having these touch points with like-minded people and people that can really challenge you and push you into being your best self and really think through what you're telling yourself and really think through like how you want to show up for your life. It really is a game changer. And I know mental and emotional well-being, and especially the mindset piece, can be one of the hardest for people. And you've spoken to that inside of your own journey, but also what you see with your clients. And so when you have someone to help you work through the messiness of that, it's what can really help you break down walls and get to that place of learning what really serves you for your health journey and how you can continue to just show up for your life. And so Shannon, I'm so grateful for you. You have just tremendous perspective and just so many incredible ways that you're serving in the health space and so much more. Just really quickly, I would love for you to speak to the woman that's listening to this that really resonates with your story, right? Maybe she's felt a little bit unglued postpartum or even into midlife health, right? Maybe she's kind of into that second wave of maybe she made some progress at some point, but now she's not feeling like herself again. She's dealing with unexplained symptoms. She doesn't feel like she's herself in her body. She's tired. She's carrying around extra weight. She feels defeated, right? And she just doesn't know where to start or what the best first step to take is. What would you say to her?
I would say it's possible.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do this. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be possible. And it starts with your mindset. And so first I would write down, all of the thoughts that come up when you think of where you want to be at your best self. And you look at that picture or in the image in your mind of that best self, write down all the thoughts that come up. And then evaluate those thoughts and say, are these thoughts helping me become closer to that goal? Or are they taking me in the other direction? Because our thoughts have to match our goals. And so evaluate your thoughts and then flip your thoughts and move them into more of a positive direction that's going to help you reach your goals. That's the first baby step. And really, it doesn't have to take long, because you can just decide, yes, I am a healthy person and this is what I want, how I want to show up in the world. And one day you just become that. Like,
Yeah.
Everyone who is where they're at, they just decided, like, this is how I want to be. Yeah. And so you can let go of the things that aren't serving you, but really decide, are my thoughts aligning with my goals or not? And then, once you take that step, then looking for a coach that can help you, or a community, or, something or someone that inspires you and motivates you.
Yeah, inspires and motivates you. That's crucial too. And having that like-minded support, that's really what will continue to propel you forward. And I love that advice, Shannon. Thank you so much for sharing, my friend. Really quickly, before we wrap up, will you just share how people can find you online if they want to connect with you, they want to learn more about the work you do as a coach? How can they find you?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks, Erin. Thanks for having me. So you can find me on Instagram, your_personal_cheerleader, because I'm your personal cheerleader, helping
Love
you
that.
achieve your goals. And you can also go to your wellness check-in and get my free PDF, access to my free Facebook group. I do fun, free weekend challenges every weekend because everyone falls off the weekend.
Yeah.
And so helping you stay on track. So either one of those two.
Awesome, Shannon. I can't thank you enough for just empowering us around the mindset piece to wellness today. It really is one of the most crucial pieces that we have to always be talking about inside of our health journey. And I'm just so grateful for you, my friend. Thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Erin. I loved being here.
Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I know balancing time and energy can be a challenge, and I'm so proud of you for listening in and investing in your wellness journey. I feel incredibly grateful to connect with you and for the opportunity to share more knowledge, stories, and encouragement related to all things wellness. I would love to hear how this podcast has served you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review on either iTunes or Spotify. Your support truly means the world to me and helps me reach more women just like you and me who are looking to transform their health from the inside out. Plus, when you share this episode with a friend, we invite more women in to learn alongside us. What a gift. Remember, knowledge is power, and the more we know, the better we can do. For ourselves, for our families, and our future. Well done on taking the step towards a healthier, happier you. Until next week, stay empowered and stay well.